Hey everybody, welcome back to Podcast on a Stick, the only podcast on a stick at the GAMA Expo. I'm here with Eric Lang, game designer extraordinaire.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon. It has been, we're on day 2 of the Expo. Have you enjoyed your time?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of feels like day 5 though, doesn't it? Even like
It
not in a
yes.
bad way, but it just time dilates here.
I mean, I came to this show tired, so
yeah,
it's-
same. I think we're just getting old.
Yep, that is 100% what's going on. So, question I ask everybody, what are you most famous for in the board game industry?
On the hobby side, I'm probably best known for Blood Rage, I think,
Okay.
nowadays, or Dice Masters, or Chaos in the Old World. I feel like that, or if you're a TCG player, probably Game of Thrones,
Okay.
TCG. On the mass side, I'm probably best known for Exploding Kittens games. I'm not the designer of Exploding
Okay, I was
Kittens,
gonna say.
but I have worked on every Exploding Kittens game for the last 3 years.
Just development kind of consultation,
Development
or
and
what
design.
And design. Okay, it's
Yeah.
co-design. Okay, as I say, I did not know that you had a hand in designing Exploding Kittens. So.
Oh, not the card game. No, but so Exploding Kittens, the publisher, has done. They've
okay,
done
the Exploding Kittens. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
In the last 3 years, they've done like 30 games.
Okay.
Of which I've worked on most of them.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, you had been teasing on Twitter for a while that you had a secret project that you were very excited about that you couldn't talk about, but I think you have been. Has that been a little bit able to talk about that now?
Oh yeah. Well, so the Hasbro game Life in Reterra, I can talk totally about. It's in the wild. It's public. You can
Okay.
play it. I don't know if. I'm not sure exactly when it's available. Today in the year of our Lord 2024, March, whatever day it is today. I'm not sure.
6th.
I think go check Hasbro.com. You'll find more information on
We'll leave a link.
when you can get it.
Yeah.
I know that it's being released in Europe as well, and I think Europe already has a taste of it. We demoed it and sold it at Cannes, the French and German version.
So tell me about that. What's the spirit of that game? What kind of game?
Spirit is I'm calling it a lifestyle gateway game, but it's imagine a world in which no other gateway games existed, and so it's a game that's a community building. We would call it tile placement in the hobby game world, but it's a community building game for points that you play competitively in a world that's been reclaimed by nature, where you can build communities and you place inhabitants and buildings for points. But it's designed for an audience that's very, very broad, so that's never heard of any of our hobby games before, right? But they play mobile games, they play like Roblox and Fortnite and or Facebook games. They have some game literacy, but not necessarily our games.
Yeah.
So this is essentially a reset to zero in my mind. What would a good first experience of a game that's like 30 minutes to play, kind of addictive, you want to play over and over again, but it's got like 10,000 combos of buildings that you can play.
So very replayable. Lots of
variety.
not going to be playing the same game every
the stuff
time.
I'm known for,
Yes.
right? And lots of cool special powers, and it's a deep, tricky game.
Yeah.
But it was designed very meticulously and carefully to be approachable and intuitive to a broad audience.
That's very cool. I'm excited to play that. It sounds very interesting. I like the community building versus tile laying. Like that. It makes sense. Like I get what you're saying with that.
That's right. Exactly right.
Yep.
So and I actually love the game. I've been playing it nonstop.
Yep. And we're not going to talk about how you got into game design because you have a whole interview with our kids on
That's
Kid
right.
Talk that talks about kind of your history in game design that people can go watch. So we'll leave a link to that if you want to hear Eric's history in game design. But what's next?
Like and subscribe.
Yes, like and subscribe. Absolutely. What's next for you? What games are on the horizon
I
that
have
you can talk about?
6 games coming out this year. Reterra is one of them. We just announced Mass Effect, the board game from Modiphius in partnership with Asmodee.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to say anything about that yet, gameplay-wise. It's a co-design with Calvin Wong Salun, who's from Malaysia, is one of my good friends, the world's biggest Mass Effect fan, and the two of us, and amazing narrative designer. And so the two of us went together to make a really cool, it's Mass Effect, so but approachable. So not a $100, 100-hour like crunch fest.
Right.
It's a game that's approachable by video game players who may not necessarily be hobby game literate, but it's deep. It's approachable. Anybody can try to play it, but it's deep and tactical and like tense and dramatic. But it's short.
What's the playtime on that one going to be?
Unfortunately I can't reveal
any of that.
Yep.
Okay.
I wish I could. By the time you see this, there'll probably be some details.
Okay. And then, so anything else beyond that you can talk about yet?
Nope. Well, okay. So I have 2 games coming out from Exploding Kittens that are going to come out later this year. And both I'm really excited about. One is, you wouldn't recognize it as mine at all. It's mine, but you wouldn't recognize it. It's very, very... I think it's a gamer. It's a gamer game hidden inside of a mass market, really, really hooky mass market game. The other one is an extension of the Throw Burrito franchise that Ken Gruhl and myself, the same designers as Reterra, that we designed. That's really cool. It's a great new twist on the franchise.
And we were having a conversation with Kim from Good Games, kind of along that hook hidden inside of a mass market game. And I think those are so much fun to play with people who would not go pick up a hobby game.
Absolutely.
But they'll play the Exploding Kittens type games and that. But then hiding those hooks in them where they get that feeling of something that you don't get with Uno or with just that, like they feel something, like I did something really strategic, just that kind of get the itch for like, that was nice. Is there something else like, maybe I want to play another game? So those, I love seeing games with those hidden in them, but that are fully, I assume, quick to the table, simple rules.
That's right.
And not going to feel like I'm getting into something, like not making a commitment.
They're
by
not
playing
intimidating, but they're deep. And I love that. That's my wheelhouse right now.
Very cool. So what is, and last question, what's your biggest challenge when you're working with an IP that has a history to it and you're bringing, and has a fan base, I think is probably a big part of it, and a big challenge in having to deal with that fan base. But what's your biggest challenge, like the biggest element to you of building a game around an IP?
Sure. So I have to, so this is an IP, like an existing IP, like Mass Effect or
Marvel,
like, or Marvel.
Yeah.
So those games have to serve 3 masters, right? They have to serve the fans, the hardcore fans that know all the inside baseball. Has to serve a greater gaming market, right, and also has to serve the licensor, who is very often very protective of their license. Balancing those 3, and very often it sounds like the needs of all 3 of them are in concordance. They are not. They're very often in direct opposition. So threading that, and it's unique. Every single IP is completely different because your relationship to licensor will be different. The fan, like the difference between hardcore and casual, will be different. I want to serve. So my general approach is I want to serve the largest fan base possible. Anybody who's who's passingly interested in it, and like excited by the hook of the IP. Like, why'd you get into the IP? So I'm about touchstones, iconic moments, that kind of thing. But inside, just like a good strategy game, right? Easy to learn, hard to master. Bury the big moments, right? Like the stuff that the hardcore fans will really, really get happy over. Like, put them in the game. They're not necessarily on the surface, right? But create some of those moments, some of those cool Easter eggs, some of the deep cuts. They're in there, but you can't surface them, right? And then the licensor, of course, you have to balance. Like, licensor they often don't do games, right? But they often think they do games. So they'll have suggestions that, to serve the IP that usually is not designable. Right. And so there's a lot of that to navigate. And
hoping to convert those video game lovers to board gamers.
Sure.
That planting of those hooks in the game.
Sure. And everybody's got an opinion on how to do that. It's like, it's our job to have a vision, focus on it, and stick to it.
And every person is different. What's going to work for one is going to drive someone else away completely.
That's exactly right.
Well, very cool. Thank you so much for taking time to talk. This has been a great time talking to you. Excited to see what comes next. Excited to see those other games that you're not allowed to talk about.
Me too.
So that'll be a good time. So thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks you so much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Dun, 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 dun.
Thank you to our sponsors.
Who's sponsoring this?
I don't know.